Today, we're going to be testing just how good the brand new Shadow Chaser is. So we're going to start off doing some sort of control tests. We're actually going to be testing out the old pairings. And as you can see here on the other account, we're going to start here with the old school kind of setup where we're going to be involving Witcher. So we're going to start with Witcher and Silver Fox. We'll also do Witcher and we'll do Nagarani. We'll do Nagarani Silver Fox. And then we will introduce the new Shadow Chaser to see how much better it really is. So starting off here, obviously we are going to go through now and we're going to just do a general test. Now we are going to use the free to play version for these testings. Yes, of course, using Cloudbuster would be much better paired with Nighthawk, but Cloudbuster is a paid officer, and you know what we like to do over on this channel, mostly free to play stuff. Don't get me wrong, we will do some testings with Cloudbuster, but for the average and majority of the testings, it will be with the more free to play versions. But if you are excited for the lounge testings to see, that will come later in the video. So starting off here, we are going to do an attack, and the way we're going to do it, guys, is just kind of see how long it takes to kill that tanking unit. Obviously we have our own tanking unit, because if we send in, you know, an offense unit into that tanking unit, it's not going to do too much. So we do have a tanking unit of our own, and obviously it might genuinely change and alter the information, but the tanking unit for us will remain at this setup here. So this setup will be used for attacking all the different combinations of officers we use. So starting off here, let's quickly jump in and see just how long it takes to kill this unit. Now both units are completely maxed wrenches, star level, and even parts. Everything's obviously identical, so it will just be how long it takes to destroy this tanking unit. And as we know, this can take some time, and we will do 2 testings with each setup. That way we know 100% we've got the same information for both attacks. Now, obviously, it's going to take some time to go through all the different combinations, but if you do want to skip it, if you do check down below, you'll be able to see, obviously, the different timestamps if you want to skip straight to the results, of course. But we are going to talk a little bit about the officer in general. Now, one thing to take into consideration is the shield from the new Shadow Chaser is extremely high. Now, the shield already on Silver Fox is at 1,500 and was deemed very strong when it first came out, because it was 500 more than what you can actually get from the Witcher, which obviously made the Witcher decently strong. Now with the new one, we are actually going to be gaining 1,800, so definitely a little bit of a step up, and honestly it's going to be exciting to see, especially as well. I feel like the slowdown reduction is going to be a huge difference. Now the one thing I want to take into consideration, we want to look at how much slowdown effect they have. So the speed of cruising reduction is 15% from this officer. Okay, so 15% from here, and I do believe that is it. So 15% slowdown from Nighthawk. Now, if we go over to Bladewing, Bladewing offers a 50% reduction. So you put the two together and you have 65% reduction. Now, if you take a look at Shadow, she actually offers 80%. Meaning she won't get slowed down. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what that means. She cannot be slowed down if that obviously goes off. So I'm really excited to see just how well this can technically perform. Because yeah, I mean, in general, if you think about it, the slowdown definitely helps when trying to chase units, and they can't get away. If you keep going after them, they physically can't get away 99% of the time. And yeah, with this new ability, I feel like it's going to be pretty much instant that they'll always be able to get away. So I'm going to quickly go through now. We're going to do a second attack with obviously the exact same officers so that we can get same information, and then we'll come back with the results. So I did need to do both tests again. The first time when the test came through, obviously we had 2 minutes 17 and we had 2 minutes 35. But I did realize that I had to redo both of the tests because the actual officer here wasn't advanced. Okay, so obviously this officer can have a lower level if you are in a fresher server, and then after a set amount of days, I believe it's 75 days, it then will become a Gen 5 officer. So obviously the skills have all changed and become a little bit stronger, but that does mean that obviously the cruising speed, I've noticed, has also gone up to 25%. If there is a chance to reduce their speed by 25%, plus the already 50% from here, that is a total of 75%. And with the new officer offering the ability to reduce slowdown effect by 80%, it still means that this officer cannot get slowed down. But do you think that that now means there might be new officers that eventually will go over that 80%, meaning you'll actually end up having more slowdown officers in the future? That is something to think about. But if not, this officer will completely remove that slowdown, which is basically the most strongest part of this officer combination right now. So let's quickly jump in and take a look at the new results after I redone those tests. The first one came in at 1 minute 36 and the second at 1 minute 46. So now on these units here, we're going to go through and we are going to add on Silver Fox and we are going to then add on Nagarani. Now, this is also pretty much the combination I use and the majority of people use at this moment in time if they are free to play. So it is definitely going to be interesting to see the difference here, because obviously a lot of people are actually saying to me that they think that The Witcher is better than having Nagarani. And obviously I'm genuinely curious and do want to see the results for myself. So here you go. We're going to quickly go through now and we are going to do the attack. The same thing is going to be happening in each one. We're going to do 2 attacks from both sides of the situation, and then obviously we're going to keep rotating those defensive officers out. So I'll be back with you as soon as the testing is done. So here it is, the results have came in, and honestly it's kind of impressive. So you can see here 1 minute 18 was this one and 1 minute 22, which means that the first one did take a little bit longer to actually kill, and therefore would probably be slightly a better option if you are going in for the tanking unit. Now we're going to be moving on to the next one, which this combination is going to be a very old one, which is basically Nagarani with Witcher, which was pretty much the first ever combination of defensive officers. But of course, putting up with today's standard of offensive units, I think that it just definitely does not cut like it used to. Back in the day, Nagarani and Witcher felt almost impenetrable against some of those other officers. But as I said, we'll be back with you as soon as we've done these 2 attacks, and that will be very soon. Okay, so here we are, guys, with the reports from that setup. The first one here was 1 minute 5 seconds, and the second one 1 minute 15. So obviously they died a lot quicker. And we're just going to do one single attack here with Silver Fox and Fleeting Arrow, which is obviously the lounge officer, just to get a little bit of a compromise with using one of the defense lounge officers. Myself and pretty much everyone I know that is a WoW that owns all the lounge officers have told me that they don't believe that Fleeting Arrow is actually worth it, considering she is a lounge officer and, you know, the fact that she's a defensive officer. They think that overall she's just not worth the money. Yes, apparently she is better than what obviously the free ones are, but for the value of how much it costs to be in a lounge, apparently she just isn't that good. I mean, looking at this here, it does seem like dying rather fast. So yeah, it's a shame really that a lounge officer is pretty weak when it comes to obviously that defensive type of thing. But obviously we will see here in a second when the results come through. We are only going to do the one for this because, as I said, we're not here to test the lounge stuff. We are mostly here to test the difference with that new officer, which the new officer will be the next one. So let's jump back with the result here in 2 seconds. Okay, so here it is, guys. The report coming in at 1 minute 17, which is basically the same as Nagarani and Witcher instead of Silver Fox and Fleeting Arrow, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. The fact that, you know, having these other officers last much longer in general, and it's a real big difference, if I'm honest with you. Having some of these officers that are paid and yet they are much worse is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy if you ask me. So here it is, guys. The defensive fighter now has the Witcher with the brand new Shadow Chaser. So let's see how this performs. We are going to do all 3 combinations. We're going to do Witcher with Shadow Chaser, we're going to do Nagarani with Shadow Chaser, and then we're going to go with the final one, which I assume is going to be the best, with Silver Fox and Shadow Chaser, both high shield officers with obviously all the negatives coming in. Now, honestly, I do think it's going to be exciting to see. I do, afterwards, we've done all of these testings, want to see if she's free to keep moving freely or not, because we can see here, you can see like the lines coming down, which shows the slowdown effect that these officers are adding on there. So it's going to be rather interesting to see, you know, the difference of just how good or not. Now, already, this officer, by the way, is surviving really long. This does seem like a much better version, and I'm really excited to see what the result is. Like, this has been going on for a while now, and it's crazy to see. So yeah, fast forward, guys, let's jump to the results. Guys, this new officer is insane. Now, the time was crazy. I didn't show the whole thing, but oh my god. So as we know, 1 minute 17 was Fleeting Arrow. Okay, this was Fleeting Arrow with Silver Fox. Now, this is obviously a very strong combination. You got one defense lounge. You got then obviously one of the best defense officers there. It took 1 minute 17 to kill this unit. 2 minutes 22 seconds, and this is with Witcher and the new officer. We are now done the second one. Okay, so 2 minutes 22, 2 minutes 48. Okay, exact same pairing, nothing changed. But obviously, I'm assuming, you know, there's going to be some, you know, the shield proccing and stuff like that. Sometimes the shield would obviously end up sponging some stuff, hence why times are slightly different. But that is a crazy difference. Now we're going to go through and we're going to do the exact same attack again. This time, obviously, we are going to be going against Nagarani and the new officer. And then we are going to do the same thing again, obviously, with Silver Fox and the new officer. So obviously, just starting here again, exact same thing. We've done the exact same attack method every single time. And obviously, this one is definitely going down a lot quicker. But I did notice that for some reason, even when there was only one unit left in that last battle, it survived like 10 seconds with just one single fighter, which was crazy to me. Now, obviously, let's just quickly re-go through while we're waiting for this to all go down. You have got 1800 shield for 4 seconds, and that's every 8 seconds you get that. You then have, obviously, firepower HP, pretty standard. This one here, normal attack resilience of 25% and officer skill resilience of 25%. Meaning, obviously, that the officer pairing that currently is the meta is going against this, going to be obviously reduced by 25%. Now, does that mean a crit could potentially start coming through to be meta again? Maybe, maybe not. Then here we have the damage resist of 10% and the slowdown of 80%. We're going to try and test that slowdown in a little bit. And then finally, the officer's fighter plane troop dodge rate is increased by 10%, and after each dodge, the officer's skill resilience is increased by 4%, 4 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. So 40% skill resilience. And obviously, you've already got the skill resilience from here. So that's going to be 65% skill resilience. That is a huge amount when it comes to the fact that currently the officer pairing, which is the strongest, which is this one here, from a free-to-play point of view, Nighthawk and Bladewing, then obviously you do have Nighthawk and you have Cloudbuster, but that's going to be a lounge option. It is reducing astronomically, 65% reduction to how good that officer's pairing has become. It might genuinely be now, and I'm not joking, guys, it might genuinely be that the old school, you know, the Darkwing and Sky Jockey, which was the previous meta combination with the crit, the new skill one did overtake it. It killed tanking things a lot quicker, even obviously on the fastest times that the crit officers could do something. This was different. So let's also give that a quick test afterwards, because again, we're going to try and get to the bottom of this. And I do think that maybe that crit could be coming back. So we are going to be testing that, but you do need Darkwing to really take effect, because if you are going to be running a crit combination, which as we know currently would be Sky Jockey, the best pairing to put with Sky Jockey is Darkwing. The second best is actually, I think Bladewing is the next best option. Even though Silver Comet offers crit, the pairing of Bladewing with obviously Sky Jockey was the next best option, which would mean Sky Jockey and Nighthawk, I do believe now, would be the next best option apart from having Darkwing. So we will test with Darkwing as well and see if that crit option is going to be a thing. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we have just done the testing here with Nagarani and the new officer, and we are going to do one more. Obviously, we do want to double check that everything is good. So we'll quickly get that underway. But while we are getting that all underway, let's quickly go here and start the next fight. So boom, we're going to start it through, and then we're going to check out the battle report. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Now, again, it ain't 2 minutes 48. It's not 2 minutes 22, but it's still hitting that 2-minute mark. Even with Nagarani and this new officer, it is still hitting that 2-minute mark, which is obviously much better than the previous options that were available. So I'm really excited to see just how strong Silver Fox is going to be. So let's quickly jump to the next result, and then we'll start with the new and final combination. Okay, guys, so here it is. The final result for that option came through, and it is 1 minute 59. 3 seconds less than the other one, and honestly is very close. It's still the next best, obviously, one going through. So let's try out the combination you've all been waiting for, which is going to be, we're going to be trying Silver Fox with the new Shadow Chaser. Now, honestly, I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm guessing somewhere around the 3-minute mark, if I'm honest with you, but genuinely I don't actually know. It's gonna be really exciting to see. So let's quickly start this battle here, and I don't know, man. I genuinely believe there is a very high chance for the crit to be making a return, just on the basis of she has so much protection against skills that crit might be able to creep back in and actually do something. Because as we know from before, crit obviously was still very good. It is still very good now, but skill definitely takes the edge, okay, in the speed it takes to take down a tanking unit as well as other units. Now, obviously in a 1v1, crit will beat a skill if they went together. But when it comes to purely taking out a tanking unit, crit does slightly fall behind, because it is a matter of if, buts, and maybes of whether or not it's actually going to hit a crit. Now, with a skill, it's guaranteed, and it does do it a lot quicker in general. But with the reduction of 65% of the damage coming through, I think crit might actually be able to take the lead with this. So we are just over halfway through here, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a 3-minute job. It might only be around that same sort of 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Will it be that the best combination is actually going to be, as you can see here, we had 2 minutes 22, 2 minutes 48, and this was with the brand new Shadow Chaser and the old school Witcher. Then we had 2 minutes 2 and then 1 minute 59, which was Nagarani with the new Shadow Chaser. So I'm genuinely excited to see just how long this one is going to last. Now, obviously, you can see here, them shields are lasting the whole time. They're not managing to get through the shields, but obviously when the shield isn't up, it's dying. Now, when I last watched this a second ago, when there was only one unit left, that unit lasted a very long time when we had the new Shadow Chaser with Witcher. So I'm excited to see the difference of what that's going to be able to do. So we're going to do that same combination one more time, just so that we can get the full information here. And then obviously we will be right back with you with the results. So let's quickly jump onto the results. Okay, so both of the results are in, and I'm actually shocked. I'm really surprised here. So 2 minutes 2 seconds and then 2 minutes 9 seconds. I'm curious as to why this combination is not as strong as Witcher with the new officer. Now, if we take a look here, you can see shield coefficient 1500. The shield is very important, okay? Then we have the normal attack boost buff, but we have normal attack resilience, which is great. Then we have damage intensity and HP. We also have intercept. Again, I guess it's more offensive as well. There's 2 offensive skills. But then the increases the damage resistance fighter playing officer's troop by 10%. And for every 10% HP the troop loses, the damage resist is increased by an extra 5% up to 20. So basically, extra 30% damage resist. Now, that is genuinely pretty good. But obviously, when it comes to the Witcher has obviously maneuverability and stability buff, which is obviously 40%. The stability is for bombers, so technically we don't need to worry about that. But the maneuverability is whenever you are attacked by an enemy fighter, this stat will reduce the enemy's firing accuracy. So again, you're obviously making it a little bit weaker, and that's 40% with a shield on top of that. Not too bad. 15% damage resist, HP of 20, which is nothing special. More maneuverability, another 20%. And then here, whenever this officer troop dodges an attack, it increases its damage resist by 2% for 4 seconds and can stack up to 10 times. Now, of course, one thing you need to understand is the new officer also offers dodge, meaning The fact that you have more dodge means you're gaining this damage resist quicker, staying alive longer. That's why paired together, the Witcher with the new officer is the best combination as of right now. So yes, having obviously Silver Fox is still fine. And if you don't have the Witcher, it's not a problem. You can still use Silver Fox with the brand new officer. It's still almost twice as good as what the previous combinations offered. But of course, if you do have the Witcher, you're definitely going to want to be pairing her with the new officer because their abilities synchronize very well. It's why obviously running a crit and a skill officer together is not as good as running 2 crits together and 2 skills together. The synergy between officers is always going to be more powerful, and that is definitely something that we're going to have to do. Now, let's quickly do another test here using, obviously, we're going to stay with the best combination that we had so far, which was obviously the Witcher and Shadow Chaser. We are going to put those on a unit, but then we're actually going to quickly do one test here where instead of using, obviously, this officer, we're going to use Cloudbuster because, as we know, she's busted. So we're going to quickly go through and do the exact same test again and kind of just see if it makes a big difference or not having Cloudbuster. I do believe, obviously, we're going to see a huge difference in general. I think it's going to be, you know, knocking a good, you know, potentially 20 to 30 seconds off of how long it takes to kill. But I might be wrong on that, but I do think about 20 seconds roughly, it will knock off the timer here. Now, after that, we're also going to do some crit builds as well. We're going to do 2 attacks with a crit build. Obviously, crit build is also a lot harder to test with because it's, you know, luck of the draw whether you hit the crit or not. But we're still going to do that as well. We're going to go through and test the abilities for that. And then finally, we're going to test the ability of the maneuverability of these officers while under the ability of the slowdown. So we're going to test that as well for you. Everything all in one video. So let's quickly jump to the results. So the results from Witcher and the new Shadow Chaser when being attacked by Nighthawk and Bladewing came in at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And then the second one came in at 2 minutes 48 seconds. So a decent amount of time took to take down this combination. Now, after replacing Bladewing with Cloud Chaser, so we've got the new OP option, we have got 1 minute 55. So it definitely knocked off a good, depending on the time, 20 to 40 seconds on that timer. And I think overall that's pretty decent. Obviously, Cloudbuster is a lot stronger due to the fact that she is a lounge officer. Now we are going to go through and we're going to test how good the crit build is. So we're going to go through, we're going to have Sky Jockey, and we're also going to place on here Darkwing. So let's quickly test this out and we'll get back to you with the results. Okay, so here we are, guys. We're going to look at the results now. The first one, 2 minutes 31. The second one, 2 minutes 15. So honestly, kind of similar. Very, very similar results here when it comes to the ability to obviously tank from either the crit or from the skill build. But it does mean now that the skill build is obviously just as important realistically as the crit build, and therefore both will be able to work together. So if you have 3 jets, you have 1 tanker jet, you have a crit build, and you also have a skill build, putting them together against is now going to be your best option. Of course, it always has been, but it's going to be even more necessary now because this new officer is crazy. She is amazing. So first thing we're going to quickly test as well, guys, is I wanted to test the maneuverability of the units that we're going to be using. Now, of course, as you can tell here, I'm going to do the normal attack, but I'm going to try and move my unit around and we're going to see how much it gets slowed down. Now, the enemy jet here is just got Witcher with Silver Fox. Now, the reason it's got Witcher and Silver Fox is because obviously we don't want the ability for the slowdown. We are simply going to be testing how well this unit can move. So obviously right there, you see that the slowdowns happen, and you can see that the slowdown is restricted by a decent amount whenever that slowdown happens. All right. Now we are going to test how much that slowdown really works when you have the new officer. So we are obviously going to get a new build up here, and we are going to put on the brand new officer, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Theoretically speaking, because obviously going through the information here, we have 25% slowdown and we have 50% slowdown. So putting those two together should mean that we only get a chance of 75% slowdown. So if we only have 75% slowdown and the brand new officer we're using is actually offering 80% reduction to that slowdown, then it shouldn't be slowed down at all. So let's quickly take a look to see if that is the case. So let's quickly drag out the units here and drag this unit out. And now again, we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do an attack, and then we are going to go through and kind of see if the slowdown is ever applied during this. Now you can see here that the slowdown is still in effect, which I'm not too sure why, because if you think about it, it shouldn't be, but it does look like maybe it's the duration of the slowdown, because the slowdown definitely doesn't look like it's going as slow as it would normally do, especially with the other setup. It's still moving a bit, but the slowdown is still definitely taking place. So genuinely not too sure how they're calculating the slowdown there, if I'm honest with you, but 100% you can see that this slowdown is still happening. It's still getting slowed down every now and then, and genuinely I just don't see it shouldn't be, you know, it shouldn't be happening. The slowdown shouldn't be happening, but it is. So I don't know, genuinely not too sure why that slowdown is taking effect, but it is. And again, it's not anywhere near as much as what it was before, but just by looking at it, it shouldn't theoretically have any slowdown whatsoever, because she does offer 80% reduction. It does say here, and slow effect is reduced by 80%. Well, it's not, because the max slowdown you can get before is only 75%. So theoretically speaking, it shouldn't be slowed down at all. So I'm not too sure why, unless of course these are stacking. But I don't see how that would be a thing. In general, I don't know how that can be a thing, how the slowdown can be stacked. For some reason, that is a thing. So we have just tested now the combinations of everything, and genuinely I'm really impressed with how good this new officer is. She's 100% a much better option to have, and obviously if you want the strongest possible defense fighter, you're going to want to have Witcher with the new Shadow Chaser. But again, any combination, whether you have Nagarani with Shadow Chaser or even Silver Fox with Shadow Chaser, all of them are best. The second best option would be Silver Fox with her, and then the last option would be Nagarani. So let me know down below, are you going to be getting her? And if so, who are you going to be pairing her with? As always, I appreciate each and every single one of you. Hope everyone has a beautiful day. And if you need help with your setup, please feel free to check down below the link. The very first one will take you to my Discord. The second one will take you straight to the form to fill out if you are interested in coaching, as I do now offer one-on-one coaching for anyone who is interested. I appreciate you all. Hope everyone has a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.